everyone, hope you're all doing really well, and I've got some good books for you. These are the ones off my physical TBR for my little, try to read what I have before I go buying more challenge with myself. If you'll notice things are a little weird today, that's because there's a cute little puppy laying down here. He's my fan sitting here guarding me, so I can't really pull the table up as close as I normally do. And I'm a little off center because there's a puppy under the blankets. So, yeah, I'm surrounded, but you just can't tell. So, little man might decide he's done with nap time and come out for a visit. But we still got a little creep factor going on. And, oh, are you gonna come out? Nope. He started moving around under the blanket here because it might be warm outside, but we gotta keep it comfy for the fluff ball at the floor, and she won't even think about coming to visit unless I've got the fan on high over here by the couch. So we gotta bribe the puppies into cuddling, right? So we're gonna start, I'm gonna do the August wrap up. I read 16 books. Only 4 were physical, the rest were all on Kindle. So we're gonna start with those, and if I can keep the stack from falling everywhere and not taking out me or any of the puppies. And since this one's on top, because it was easier to do this with, the big, we're going to start with the smallest book. And if you can tell, we went with creepy. This is Vampire Notes by Robert Arthur Smith. And it was an okay novel. Like, it wasn't super creepy, but it wasn't, totally boring. There was a unique kind of way of looking at things. Because this is basically, we have our main character, George, who is a playwright and producer. And yay! These, really creepy folks show up at his, dingy place, middle of the night. I'd say I'm being robbed, but I don't have anything for anybody to rob me of, so what the heck? And then it's like, because he doesn't hear anything except for all of a sudden somebody's at the door, and he doesn't unlock it, but they come in and it's like, oh, well, they're way too nicely dressed to be robbing me. We got some fancy dude and this really hot chick that I'm already in love with because I want to hook up with her, and we obviously know that they ain't normal. He starts kind of slowly picking up on it, but yeah, that can't be right. I must be going crazy because vampires, werewolves, none of this stuff is real. There's something else going on. He just gives me the creeps for a reason I don't understand. But no, this vampire wants him to write, or well, produce the play that he's already written that's based on a true story, which, yeah, right, it's totally his old story of he was in love with this chick and it didn't end well because her family got in the way, and he basically went, all right, we have to kill ourselves because, that's the only way we can be together, and drags her off the cliff with him. And, as people start getting cast for the parts and playing them, they start actually kind of becoming them. And George is the only one that sees anything wrong with that. So that it's very slow, very kind of but it is an interesting concept. Like, I definitely had no trouble finishing it. I'm not going to follow up with any of the others. He's also read The Leopard, Deadly Admirer, and The Keeper. Because this is, first came out in 1989. This book is almost as old as I am, which would explain why it looks like that, and the print kind of looks like it was done on a typewriter. And then, of course, I've been doing the Dean Koontz thing with his Frankenstein series. This is the 4th book in the series. I still haven't got my hands on the 5th one to complete it yet. But this is Lost Souls, where it picks up after the 3rd book that I can't really tell y'all about because there is a major spoiler at the end that we saw coming because it's a 5-book series and that was only the 3rd book. But it fixes itself in a way that the series can continue, and it continues here in, was she in Montana? Yep. Rainbow Falls, Montana is where our latest Erica 5 moves to after she thinks she's free, but not really. Like, she knows something is potentially up. And her her monster buddy go and live here for a few years, and then stuff starts getting weird again because Dean Koontz, Frankenstein, it's gonna be weird. So this is another good one of kind of summerween. Like, it takes place rounds about this time of the year, actually. And once again, we're trying to take out, you know, Frankenstein. But it's gonna have to last one more book. It moves along. There's some, you know, nice plot twists and all kinds of funness going on. And there's been some changes in the relationship with our cop duo, so it's a good time. And then, I wouldn't be me if I didn't get into some fairy tales with some cruel beauty, which, obviously, Beauty and the Beast retelling. And, oh, this was a good one. It's not your standard Beauty and the Beast. This one had demons. And it wasn't, oh, I went to save my father. My father sold me to the demon. Because Dad is a bad, bad man in this book. She has, Beauty has a twin sister that is Daddy's pride and joy, and he loves her, and she's a delicate little thing. And then there's our main character, Nix, who's, you're the spare. We're gonna sacrifice you to try to avenge my bad deal with the demon. And, of course, you know, she's 17, she still, as much as she hates her dad, that's still her dad, she still wants his approval. So she has spent her whole life training to kill the demon. Even though people have been trying for like 200 years since the sky became essentially like crepe paper. There is no blue sky. They're not in the real world, but they're in the real world. Because basically what it comes down to is this demon took over and like killed their last real prince, and ever since then, their world is not what it used to be. Do not look in the shadows, because that's where the demons are, and they'll see you, and then they'll kidnap you, and you'll never come back. And if you do, you'll wish you had it, because you will have gone off the rails and be freaking out. And her dad is part of an order that's supposed to, like, help these people, so he should have known better than to make a deal with the devil. But he thought he was a genius and was going to pull it off, and didn't care about the consequences, because it wouldn't be him dealing with them. So, this one was, it's Cruel Beauty for a reason, by Rosamund Hodge, and there's a second book that is, it doesn't follow up with this one, which, weirdly enough, it has a unhappy but happy ending. And then the next one in the series, it's just basically keeping the fairy tale thing going, and it is the Cinderella story, which I'm not even a big fan of Cinderella, but I want the sequel, because this was that flippin' good. Like, if you like fairy tales and you like them a little dark, hello, demon, go get this. And then while you're at it, get the sequel to it's Crimson Bound, I think. It's kind of similar looking, but it's green. I totally need that one. And then the one that I pre-ordered, like, those I accidentally bought, and even though I said I was going to read what I had instead of buying more, but this doesn't count. I pre-ordered this beginning of the year, and I would have pre-ordered it sooner, but I didn't have the option yet, so it doesn't count. And plus, it's James Rollins. I had to have it. He is one of my few, they have a book, I need it. Like, no questions asked. I'm buying it. And this one, once again, it was very timely. We have volcanoes and climate change and people, dying in the deep sea. And the project is even the Titan X project, so, oopsie. And it's run by this, like, billionaire dude that's, it was almost his butt, too. But, some other folks, like, he actually didn't suck. He was trying to save people. He's a research student using, like, his own money, for the most part, to fund this whole thing. And then we're also, like, while we're dealing with what the heck, why is the Earth on fire? Because all these volcanoes are going off. And there's all these, like, undersea earthquakes. There's also the whole China thing going on, as in Saishan has taken their son Jack to go, hang out with Grandma and celebrate his birthday. And they end up in the middle of a gang war. that might not necessarily strictly be a gang war. Because, of course, there's always ties back to the historical record and the bad guys taking advantage of historical stuff to try to take out Sigma in the world. And in this case, basically, like, what happens in this is something that happened, like, in the early 1800s. A volcano erupted and then, yeah, tried to wipe out the world, and it's done that, like, 64,000 years ago, too. And the key to it is the Australians. They know how to save us. So, yay, they're something other than just, like, super sexy, you know, superheroes and, you know, murderous British criminals and all the really cute cuddly animals that want to make you an obituary. They get to be the good guys. And then everything else was, I read it on Kindle. Like, there was the Arc Files, which is the first in the Eden Black archaeological thriller series by Luke Richardson. And, oh, it was a good time. I will definitely be following up on that. It leaves with a very intriguing ending that's like, oh, I did not see that coming, and now I have to know what happens. Because we start basically with Eden Black going, crap, my dad's dead, and I'm sad, and now people are trying to kill me. Like, what the heck? They burned down my dad's house while I was in it. And she ends up on the run from these people because she knows something. And she can't know because then she'll find what we're after, and that's not acceptable because we need it because it's going to make us rich. And so it's archaeological. She's getting into all of this stuff, and it is, you know, it's kind of fun because we also get a little drama of she ends up getting help from her ex-boyfriend who she ain't happy to see because he did her dirty a couple of different ways, and so they're dealing with that drama the whole time, and betrayal, and just, dude, if you want a lot of action, you want a little sass, you like the, like, archaeological thing, there's a whole series of these on the Kindle Unlimited thing, and you gotta go check them out. I think the next one in the series is Atlantis again, which, if y'all have been following me for a while, y'all know that's one of my, like, favorite myths. Oh, little man. My little hipster starting to come out a little bit. See, wave the little paw. He said no, he's just using my belly for a pillow now. And speaking of Atlantis, the next one that I read on Kindle was Atlantis Conspiracy by L.D. Goffigan, which is the third in the Adrian series. I should have written what it was, because it's been a minute. I read 16 books this month. I'm a little, oops. I wrote down the title. I remember it's the third one, and there's a fourth book as well. It's so far the end of the series, so I definitely need to download that and read it, because I've liked the last 3 of them. I think there was a King Arthur one, and I forget what the first one was, but I remember really liking it. I talked about it somewhere, but again, it was just following this archaeological thing of, we said Atlantis wasn't real, but here's all these clues that go, oh my gosh, it is. We found it. So, it's a good time. It's another just archaeological thriller. Lots of action, lots of betrayal, lots of fights and sass. And yep. So, if you like action-packed thrillers and you like history and mythology and ancient legends, go check this series out. And then, let's see here. I'm going to skip that one for now because there's a whole series and then a spin-off series that I read. But I also read my first Grady Hendrix. That was Final Girl Support Group. And I did a whole review on that one, so I'll have to remember to post that link below. It was a good freaking time. Not the best book in the world, but definitely an interesting premise. It's basically, let's pretend the 90s slashers movies were real and deal with the survivors and that are not having a good time. They're still struggling to survive. I read 1984 by, of course, George Orwell, which was a request from one of my coworkers / viewers. Hi, Ashley. And that one I slogged through. That took me a whole month, possibly longer. I'd have to look at my start and end dates on Goodreads for that one, and that was a depressing read, so do with that what you will. It's classic for a reason, but it ain't a feel-good one at all. And then, let's see here. I read the entire Chronicles of Zoe Grimm, which is a 7-book series by Michael Anderle and Theophilus Monroe? Theophilus? I don't know. That is a name I've never seen before. And I read those in about a week and a half because they're all 250 oddish pages. Like, I think the longest one was like 246. One of them was like 220 something. So basically, yeah, they're all on Kindle Unlimited. Sit down and read them in a day. I actually read a couple of them that way, sneaking little bits and pieces here and there. And I thought this was going to be like nice and kind of dark, like perfect summer-ween read. Because it's an urban fantasy. And I mean, it's Zoe Grimm, the daughter of the Grim Reaper. And she's like got this badass Sith because turns out she can't, like, she was supposed to take over, you know, the family business, and Daddy was supposed to retire. She was going to become the new Grim Reaper. But it's a good thing she has a twin brother, because she can't reap. Or at least she can't reap human souls. Turns out, the supernaturals, you know, the vampires and the werewolves and the trolls and all the other stuff, yeah, they better watch out, because she's coming for them, and she has been trained for other things, but that training crosses over. And now she's living in Missouri and has some very fun commentary on it and reaping all these supernaturals, and she gets to meet her mom, who, you know, she's never seen because humans cannot go to the underworld. She's half human, like, basically the Reapers come to, you know, the human world and go, I need somebody to have my babies, and then I'm going to take them back to the underworld, and they're going to be the new Reapers, so, yeah. And Grim Reaper Daddy went weird and actually fell in love with the chick that he was initially just supposed to, you know, convince somebody to, you know, basically be surrogate for him. And, yep. But my favorite part of this is Cerberus, who we learn early on. Yeah, he barks and plays with the squeak toys like a normal dog, and he does have the 3 heads. But he also talks, because he's not a real, like, dog. He's, like, the king of the hellhounds. He ain't normal. And just like all the, like, the butlers, he has the best frickin' lines. It does kind of get into, like, the mythologies and stuff and get a little bit more serious in the later half of the series, where we get to deal with Dracula and a couple different pantheons and so much frickin' betrayal. But then the last book, it picks back up, and we've got magic and sass and some major turns of events that were hinted at in the book that put me onto this. Because I forget how exactly, I think it was like a Facebook ad, went, hey, Vampire Morning, you want to read this? It's a vampire, but she gets power from the sun, which, dude, it's a redhead. Redheads do not do outdoors if they're real. But this chick, not only can she go outside without sunscreen, it makes her more powerful. But they kept hinting at, like, well, you know, all this, that, and the other happened. Oh, because this is a spinoff. And it's the Daywalker Chronicles, which is also all on Kindle Unlimited. But I only read the first book, so yeah, go check those out. I will probably try to get some more fairy tales in, because I was seriously lacking. I only got 1 this month. Ooh. It was very urban fantasy, you know, vampire heavy this month. But I have a feeling, you know, that's gonna change up, because we're coming up on Halloween Eve. Well, it's September, so it's all Halloween Eve. Or, you know, what normal people accept as, I guess we can start getting into it. That the, you know, proper folks wait until October to go all pumpkin and maybe a little batty. I kick it off in August, and then keep some of it year-round, as you'll see the bats back there with my pretty flowers. Those stay there, and it's off-screen, but my welcome sign also has a skull on it. There are a few things that are year-round, because who doesn't love Halloween? And Disney princesses and pretty flowers and stuff. I like to keep people confused. Am I 3? Am I crazy and evil? Because there are a lot of skulls in my house. Yeah, I'll have to do a video of my collection for y'all at some point. I have a few bookcases that are just for all my Halloween decorations. So, hopefully somewhere on this list is something that looks entertaining for y'all. And I will see you soon. Bye. Happy reading.